time, Dr. Freeman? Is it really that time again? It seems as if you only just arrived. You've done a great deal in a small time span. You've done so well, in fact, that I've received some interesting offers for your services.
No! Help!
Well, if it isn't Gordon Freeman at last.
Watch out, he's gonna...
No!
In the meantime, this is where I get off.
This video was not easy to make. Being one of the many games I've played multiple times in my life, Half-Life 2 falls just short of being number 1 on my list. I'm sure you're all very aware of the game to this day, and many of those who didn't have the fortunate luck of playing it at a young age don't realize what a gem they've truly missed out on. My point being, I'm incapable of going over just why it's one of my favorite games of all time, but many fans will understand that. I'm just a huge supporter of anything Half-Life related, but I apologize if I missed any key points in the story that stood out to others during this video. It's a game with cinematic gameplay both diversified within the action and dialogue-filled segments, the insane amount of replayability with achievement hunting and secret exploration, or for the sake of experiencing the story another time, because guess what? It's that fucking good. First, if you don't want to hear my sob story, go ahead and fast forward to this point. I'll save you the struggle. When I was younger, I never played the first Half-Life game. My uncle owned a copy of it on PlayStation 1, but I never personally saw him play it. It wasn't until a few years later when the Xbox 360 was released that my parents discovered the Orange Box, a game that a lot of us were probably very familiar with due to the fact that it was conveniently priced, throwing 3 games into one large bundle. Technically 5, including Half-Life 2's complete campaign, Team Fortress 2, and Portal. Parents probably saw this as a steal, and those of us who got to experience this gem as kids should consider ourselves lucky. An era of gaming died with us long ago. You're never gonna see a decent bundle of games like this today. My brother Josh was the one who introduced me to the sequel of Half-Life. Often I remember we'd stay up during the summer and talk about the game late at night, discussing the storyline, the characters, the enemies, the possibility of a movie, so on and so forth. Josh got me hooked into Half-Life 2, and it's because of him that I'm making this video today. It's been years since I've talked to him, but if you're watching this, Josh, I hope you enjoy and I hope you get a laugh or two. So enough with the sappy shit. Time to get into the basics. Half-Life 2 picks up years after the ending of the first game, with the infamous Dr. Gordon Freeman on board a train to City-17, a complete fascist-controlled regime operated by a hostile force known as the Combine. The city is in disarray, and we get a first-hand look at what life is like in this utopian future. Citizens must exercise caution when walking around normally, and mechanical scanner drones parade the skies, flashing your fucking face with their cameras. It doesn't take long for things to go haywire. Gordon steps off the train only to be greeted by the propagandist speech of his former colleague at the Black Mesa Research Facility, Dr. Wallace Breen, who has somehow risen to the rank of Overlord, and he also has the entire Combine force at his hands.
Thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration here in the Citadel so thoughtfully provided by our benefactors. I've been proud to call City 17 my home. And so, whether you are here to stay or passing through on your way to parts unknown, welcome to City 17.
Famously enough, there's this scene where a Metro cop throws a can onto the ground.
Pick up that can.
Dear Dr. Breen, why has the reproductive cycle? Sincerely, a concerned citizen.
Alternatively, you can throw it at him for a pretty hilarious outcome. Hey, you know what? Fuck you and fuck this can. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't ow! When going through the checkout line, Gordon is about to pass onto the Nova Prospect train, which I'll cover much later on. He's interrupted when a Combine officer pulls him aside and locks him into a room.
You, citizen, come with me, now.
About that beer I owed you.
It's me, Gordon. Barney from Black Mesa.
That's right, it's Barney, the security guard from the first game. He's disguised as a Metro cop, infiltrating the Combine's defenses and saving citizens for the Resistance. This is also where you meet Dr. Kleiner, another recurring character from the Half-Life series.
I'm in the middle of a critical test.
Sorry, Doc, but look who's here.
Great Scott! Gordon Freeman! I expected more warning.
Gordon must escape through the fire window and proceed through the apartments to get away from the police. The other citizens brace for an incoming attack from the Combine, and Gordon just barely escapes to the rooftops. This scene is intense for the sole reason that you're unarmed and you can't sprint. All you can do is jump and hope for the best, dodging bullets and dodging the ledge that separates you from a very painful death. The Combine end up catching up and kidnap Gordon. Oh, wait, what's this?
No, you don't.
What's going on? Hi, I think.
Dr. Freeman, I presume.
This is Alyx Vance, another very famous character in the action shooter genre. Being the daughter of Eli Vance, she's a technical genius when it comes to engineering and hacking. She even fought off 7 Combine police by herself. Jesus, what a badass. Every moment with Alyx feels organic and fresh. Once you play the game in its entirety and realize how close you become with her, it's as if you knew her your whole life. She's funny, she's dramatic when it's called for, she can be threatening, and she cares for the safety of her family and friends. She's so cool that Valve even made a prequel where you play as Alyx in VR. I wish I had a VR headset because I'd love to play the fuck out of that game. Alyx brings Gordon directly to Dr. Kleiner, who is reluctant to see him. This is when Gordon is given the HEV Mark V hazard suit. Any diehard fan will smirk a little bit once you hear that sick guitar drop after collecting it. It makes you feel powerful, rightfully so.
Well, Gordon, I see your HEV suit still fits you like a glove. At least, the glove parts do.
The suit is capable of holding armor to protect from further damage and allows you to see in the dark with a flashlight module. Gordon is also given the option to sprint while wearing the suit. This is my only quirk with the suit though. The flashlight, sprint, and oxygen are all tied together in the same bar. So if you activate your flashlight but then sprint really fast, the suit's power will drain and you'll run out of both sprint and a light source. That's the most asinine shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm aware in episode 2 they fixed this issue and gave the flashlight its own battery bar, but we'll get to that later down the line. Anyways, Gordon watches as Alyx steps into Dr. Kleiner's teleporter, which leads to Black Mesa East, where Eli Vance awaits to meet you face to face. With the teleporter in working condition, Gordon steps inside, only to have Lamar, the head humper, trigger a malfunction in the cycle. Gordon is tossed all over the fucking place, and it's really cool seeing these amazing voice actors giving it their all in times of chaotic scenery. I always get chills when Gordon goes into Breen's office directly for a brief moment and then scares the shit out of him.
What's the meaning of this? Who are you? How did you get in here? I saw. I'm all but certain it was Gordon Freeman.
Suddenly, Gordon is thrown outside and pursued by scanner bots. With the Combine hot on his trail, he has to leave, and fast, before everything falls apart. Barney meets Gordon shortly afterwards to hand him a long-lost friend, the crowbar. Any fan of the games knows how iconic and entertaining the Half-Life 2 crowbar can be, and honestly, it's hard not to use it on certain enemies just for the sake of doing it. It's become a meme at this point, but either way, it's a deadly melee weapon in the history of gaming, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Afterwards, Gordon acquires a handgun, another wonderful sidearm that shoots quickly and accurately. There's a massive gunfight as he escapes through the train canals, and I'll be honest, this is one of the best parts of the game. Surrounded, Gordon is sweeping his way through these insects like a vacuum sucks up spiders. It's hilarious how many opportunities you have to end your enemies' lives, whether it be via explosive barrel, grenade, or a well-placed headshot. Funny how Gordon doesn't speak once in the games and still comes off as this psychotic, maniacal, utter badass. There's a segment where you operate a mounted machine gun and lay waste to a bunch of incoming Combine, only to be intercepted by an indestructible APC. The very first time I played this game, I was on the edge of my seat. After jumping through some more Combine hoops, Gordon encounters these strange alien creatures that we're all too familiar with, the head crabs. Once these things latch onto your head, you're not just dead, you're undead. As in a fucking zombie. Creepy fun fact, for anyone who isn't a major fan of the game, the zombie voice lines were placed in the game backwards. It was discovered long ago that if you reverse them, the voice actors are actually screaming. The thought of putting that much creativity into a simple common enemy in a video game is fucking brilliant. It's this type of thing that you don't see in games anymore. It always brightens my heart, but gives me the creeps at the same time. What happened to creative enemies in games? Sorry, random tangent. Soon after clearing them, Gordon is given the airboat, a vehicle capable of traveling tremendous speeds and traversing both land and water. I'm not gonna lie, this is supposed to be a really epic part of the story, but every second that you spend on the airboat, in my opinion, kinda drags. You have to be very precise with its movements, otherwise you'll veer off to the side and whack yourself into a fucking pole or the wall. The mud skipper is more like the mud slider. It just slides all over the damn place. It gets a bit more tedious when you encounter puzzles that require you to leave the mud skipper, push some objects underwater to build a ramp, get back on the mud skipper, then drive and ramp over. All the while, you have to dodge a bunch of assholes who are hot on Gordon's trail. This entire segment improves when you have to find a way past the Combine's defensive canal walls. You'll have to keep an eye out for the barnacles as well. Dog! Fuck my butt. Like that, I just drove right into him. It's convenient during certain segments though, like when you're driving along and a random citizen drops supplies down to your position. Things like that add a lot of depth and character to an otherwise empty environment. I almost died a couple of times due to the fact that I wasn't playing the game in a smart way. My brain was under the effects of caveman syndrome as I tried to John Wick my way through majority of it. Unfortunately, this tactic will only get you so far, and it will most likely result in the same situation. You run out of ammo, and you get fucked. Eventually, Gordon encounters a new oncoming threat. A Combine military chopper has arrived to finish him off. This part is a glorified obstacle course and requires you to know it like the back of your hand to get by. Hell, even after I've beaten the game multiple times, it still has moments like this where I stump myself, and if anything, I think that means they're doing something right. But holy fuck, the helicopter is annoying. When he isn't parading a downpour of bullets into your skull, he's shitting out these giant metallic balls that explode on impact and on a timer. If you're not careful, the bombs will toss you every which way but forward, and you'll be vulnerable to the incoming chopper. Gotta get through this bridge. Oh fuck, the bomb got me! Ah, barnacles! Literally, one of them just caught me, leaving me open to the hunter chopper. That's one way for Freeman's legacy to fall short. Eaten to death by a fucking barnacle. After careful pathfinding and taking my time when I had any left, I got past the first major segment of the helicopter chase. Gordon pulls inside another quick stop guarded by the rebels, who apply a mounted gun to the airboat. This gun will actually allow us to defend ourselves and bring the chopper to the fucking dirt. Once it comes down to a one-on-one, the game amps up a little bit. Gordon has to dodge the hunter chopper all the while returning fire upon it. The more damage it takes, the more sporadic it becomes in decision making, meaning he will start carpet bombing the area in one huge sweep to try and exterminate Gordon. Just keep your distance and spray into him when he's close enough. This will cause him to explode and slam into the earth in a shattering thud. Good riddance, asshole. Gordon finds the switch to the hydro dam gateway, activates it, and speeds the airboat straight on through to Black Mesa East. I should also mention, there's an Easter egg hidden in this location. Right after fighting the chopper, head towards the circular sewer grates. Gordon can climb inside the one on the left, and if you have enough health, or activate cheat mode, you'll find a vortigaunt tucked away on the other side in a cave. At first it seemed like an interesting little discovery to me, but the more you interact with him, the deeper and more cryptic his metaphors become. At one point, I believe he references Gman, who I forgot to mention somehow.
Far distant eyes look out through your... Something secret steers us both. We shall not name it.
Shit. Well, I don't personally know much about G-Man's lore, but I know that he's an entity that closely examines or follows from afar. In this case, Gordon Freeman, the man involved with the resonance cascade, the center of science and knowledge corrupted by political minds, though G-Man doesn't offer any favors to our hero of the story. G-Man is a very strange character, but I think that's why he's so well loved. The vagueness behind who he is or what he wants is displayed wonderfully by the voice actor's ability to make words sound really fucking painful to pronounce. I'm not kidding, almost every line of dialogue from G-Man sounds like he just got pulled over by a police officer for suspicions of drunken driving.
Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until... well, let's just say your hour has come again.
Regardless, he was a great character, and you can even see him multiple times during the live gameplay if you know where to look. Anyways, Gordon finally makes it to Black Mesa East, where he is introduced to Judith Mossman, a researcher working alongside Eli Vance.
Dr. Freeman? Gordon Freeman? Is that you? You've made it here this quickly. Well, Eli is going to be amazed, not to mention relieved. I'm Dr. Mossman, Dr. Judith Mossman. I've been hearing about you since long before the Black Mesa incident.
This is also where you're introduced to the least enthusiastic character in the Half-Life 2 series. He comes face to face with Gordon Freeman, a walking prodigy, and he only says,
"Good to know you."
It feels like an insult. I remember the first time I encountered Judith, I felt this strange sense of both guilt and suspicion. She comes off very nice to Gordon, but absolutely adores talking about herself and the research she's done, unaware that she's standing next to the man who single-handedly survived the Black Mesa incident.
Oh. Listen to me, I sound like a postdoc. I'm just so excited to think that we'll finally have the chance to work together.
Yeah, I bet. Eli is of course a very charming character who returns long after the events of Half-Life 1. His voice actor did an amazing job of representing a healing, wise elder that could serve almost as a father figure to Gordon. He shows very gracious commitment to his research and even mentions Gordon's successful scientific career. Overall, this is someone I'd want to be my grandfather.
You remember my wife Ozian, don't you? That picture and Alyx were all I managed to carry out of Black Mesa.
Alyx joins in on the fun to greet Gordon, and her father shares an awkward line of dialogue with her.
I guess you proved you can handle yourself out there.
There's nothing Gordon can't handle, with the possible exception of you.
Dad, please.
Okay. Anyway. Mossman comes in and quite literally instigates an issue with Alyx. Seems my intuition might have been correct about her character, but who am I to judge? When Alyx gets confrontational, Judith tempers the situation back down and eases everyone to the same level. The writing in this game is just so far beyond anything I could ever come up with. Now we get the greatest weapon known to many sci-fi fans across the globe, the gravity gun. Or the zero-point energy manipulator. The gravity gun allows the user to grab heavy objects and launch them at fatal speeds. It's extremely handy when trying to conserve ammunition and can launch almost anything you wish. Sometimes though, you have to be careful with how you launch it, otherwise you'll just blow yourself up like a dumbass and have to embarrassingly try to redeem yourself for it. This is also where Gordon meets Dog, an invention by Eli meant to protect Alyx from danger. Dog is an unexpectedly great addition to the game, and it's funny how that ties into real life. How dogs add that small spark of light into our lives that another human can't feel. Weird tangent I just went on, but you get my point. You can even play fetch with him. That's cool as fuck. But like all good things, the moment is stolen when the Combine arrives to initiate an attack on Black Mesa East. Heading back inside, Eli calls Alyx through the intercom.
Take Gordon out of here. Head for the coast. Do not go through
Dad? Dad!
Oh man, we're going to Ravenholm. When I was a kid, my brother Josh and I got to this part and shared an equal wave of goosebumps. What dangers and dark evils could possibly be waiting for us in this place called Ravenholm? To make a long story short, it's not good news. The entire town was blocked off due to a massive headcrab infestation, leading to the only remaining population being none other than zombies. You're not entirely alone in Ravenholm though, as Gordon meets Father Grigori, a once wise priest who lives here, now turned into a prophet of destruction. He's an iconic character in Half-Life and gives many thought-provoking quotes at certain moments.
Well done, brother. Make free use of my traps, but take care not to fall in them yourself. In Ravenholm, you do well to be vigilant.
Well, we might as well help him do the Lord's work. Fortunately, this chapter, we're given a shotgun for the first time. Soon, we're introduced to different types of zombies deeper within the recesses of Ravenholm. Fast zombies, poison zombies, and the regular slow joes that take their time stumbling to you. Throughout all of Ravenholm, you'll have to be quick on your feet while watching your step. Grigori has this town riddled with traps, so it's not recommended to walk without a care all over the place. Eventually, the two of you unite, but Gordon is separated when he has to get to the train yard. Grigori gives one last comment before running into an explosive curtain of flames, laughing maniacally.
I fear I deliver you to a darker place. May the light of lights illuminate your path. Look to your own salvation.
This is when Gordon regroups with another rebel team and discovers that Alyx's father has been taken by the Combine. Resorting to tracking him down personally via dune buggy, Gordon treks his way across the coast to find Nova Prospect, the prison run entirely by Combine. Getting there is no easy task thanks to these bug fucks. They're called antlions, and although I do think they're a really creative idea for an enemy, the game gets way too carried away with them later on. You can save yourself time by driving past all of these nuisances and heading on the right path. Near the end of this chapter, Gordon must fight off a gunship using an RPG. It's tough if you don't know how to angle your rockets appropriately, but if you follow the pattern of the turret, you'll knock it down in seconds. But it doesn't take long for the Combine to put an end to the fun. No siree, there's a large gate you'll have to get past and a shit ton of Combine troopers. And Jesus, could they be any more accurate? I felt like I was playing COD against an entire squad of skilled players. It's like a toddler trying to wrestle John Cena. Anyways, after fighting off the gunship, the car is taken away by the Combine, ensuring that we are now on foot from here. Gordon finds a way into the former prison known as Nova Prospect, the location he was bound for in the introduction. He regroups with Alyx, who is searching for her father. These next couple of segments are nothing more than glorified horde modes. You can set up turrets and prepare yourself for an onslaught of Combine soldiers. 3 times in a row. The reunion is very short-lived, as it doesn't take long before we discover that Judith Mossman was tied to Breen, working as an informant under his wing during the entire course of the game. I knew my feelings towards her were negative for a reason, and now I guess I just have to say, I fucking told her so. The two heroes catch up to her and confront her immediately.
We're going to reconfigure this teleport and get the hell out of here.
You see, we're working to the same end. I've already reprogrammed the modulator to emulate a Zen relay.
That's my father's work you stole.
It's my work too. And I had to prove to Dr. Breen that your father would be the most valuable member of any research effort going forward.
Enough of your bullshit!
And just like that, they make their way back to the Combine teleporter, only to have Mossman bring Eli with her in a hurried escape effort. Once you survive yet another wave of Combine assholes, Gordon and Alyx make it back to Kleiner's lab, only to discover they've been gone for a little over a week. With so much time gone, they need Gordon's help now more than ever. You can call me lazy for this, but I'm just gonna skip these next couple of chapters, mainly because it's nothing more than a constant struggle between the rebels and the Combine. You won't be letting go of your trigger during the chapters Anti-Citizen 1 and Follow Freeman. It's really nothing but fighting. Gordon rescues Barney from a bunch of snipers, destroys the Striders in the streets, and eventually makes it to the Citadel. This is where we get our first huge glimpse of the interior. The Citadel's size and scale are far too much to describe in mere words. What's crazier is you can see the massive amounts of reinforcements the Combine have at their disposal. Gordon ends up falling into a strange field that strips him of all of his weapons. The gravity gun causes the field to backfire and suddenly collapse. Now, it's been upgraded into a weapon of mass destruction, capable of grabbing Combine soldiers, pulling them towards you, and launching them back at others. It's a pretty devastating gun, and I like when Breen tries to reason with Gordon. You can just tell him to go fuck himself and rip the monitors off the wall.
Well, Dr. Freeman, under other circumstances, I like to think we might have been able to work together in an atmosphere of mutual trust and respect. Certainly judging from you.
Shut the fuck up. Gordon finds yet another pod rail system and decides to jump in. This leads him directly into Breen's quarters, where the player shares a feeling of defeat with the other characters of the story. We get a pretty intense cutscene that I can only describe as when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Breen turns into a cocky high schooler when he realizes he has Gordon trapped.
What's this? I'll put it over there. You have my gratitude, Doctor. First you lead me straight to the doorstep of my oldest friend, and then you deliver yourself? If I'd known you were going to come straight up to my office, I wouldn't have bothered hunting you in the first place.
Then Mossman decides that she's seen enough and brings an end to Breen's game. This is the final segment of the game and requires Gordon to pursue Breen in an intense climb to the top of the Citadel, where the core stands exposed. Launching a Combine ball into it enough times will destroy the shielding and eventually the core itself. Time stops just before it explodes.
You need me.
Come on, Gordon. We've got to get out of here. Maybe we still have...
Time, Dr. Freeman?
Once the infamous G-Man walks off screen, the game's credits begin to scroll. And this, my friends, is where we must end our journey for now. Don't you worry, I won't leave you hanging for 20 plus years like Valve has with Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 or whatever. I just don't have enough space on my PC to film both episodes within the full game as well. Stay tuned, for Gordon's journey has yet to end and the game still has many more adventures to offer. I will see you guys next time. I'm going to poop my pants, Mr. Freeman.